Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Friday, January 10th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. The onslaught of fires continues in Southern California, the death toll rising with more than 10,000 homes and businesses now gutted. This morning, the new fires that have broken out and are causing additional misery. And President-elect Trump to be sentenced later today for his conviction in the New York hush money case. The rare sentence the judge is expected to impose, and how the U.S. Supreme Court failed to stop the proceeding at the last minute.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
At least 4 major wildfires are still raging in the Los Angeles area of California this morning. 10 people have now been confirmed dead, but fire officials say the death toll is likely to rise once it is safe for investigators to access more areas. Flames have charred 10,000 homes and buildings. Entire neighborhoods are obliterated between the Palisades and Eaton fires alone. Firefighters have been able to make some progress as the Santa Ana winds have weakened, but wind and dry conditions are expected to continue, making it difficult to battle the flames through the weekend. The biggest and most destructive fire in Pacific Palisades, California, now spans nearly 20,000 acres, which is more than 30 square miles. It is only 6% contained. Nearly 180,000 people in LA County are under evacuation orders, and another 200,000 might have to leave their homes as well. The wildfires and strong winds fueling them have also led to mass power outages. Entire stretches of Pacific Ocean beachfront property along Malibu are now charred, as well as homes and neighborhoods up and down Pacific Coast Highway. The latest fire to break out, the Kenneth Fire, sparked Thursday afternoon in the Woodland Hills area of Los Angeles near Calabasas. The fire is now spanning 1,000 acres and is 35% contained. Police have arrested one man on suspicion of arson in connection with that particular fire. And it's not just those in the fire's path in danger. Polluted air is now posing a threat even to those far away. The U.S. Supreme Court will not step in to halt President-elect Donald Trump's sentencing today for his criminal conviction in the New York hush money case. The divided high court voted Thursday 5-4 to deny his request to stop the sentencing. That means the virtual hearing to finalize his conviction on 34 felony charges of falsifying business records to cover up payments to porn star Stormy Daniels will happen. The judge overseeing the hush money case, Juan Merchan, said earlier this month he will not sentence the president-elect to prison time, saying incarceration is not an option. Instead, the judge is expected to impose a no-penalty sentence called an unconditional discharge. Trump has vowed to appeal in order to overturn his conviction, claiming evidence and testimony was admitted that implicated his duties as president during his first term. The Supreme Court ruled over the summer presidents are immune from criminal prosecution for some official acts. To a different matter, Special Counsel Jack Smith's report on President-elect Donald Trump's election interference case is one step closer to being made public after a federal appeals court ruling on Thursday. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit rejected a bid to block the release, but kept in place the judge's order for a 3-day delay, giving time for additional appeals, meaning Donald Trump, if he chooses, could seek the U.S. Supreme Court's intervention in the matter. Trump pleaded not guilty to the charges, but the election interference case was eventually dismissed following his victory in the November presidential election due to a Justice Department policy that forbids the prosecution of a sitting president. Attorney General Merrick Garland has said he plans to release the report to the public once he is permitted to do so. In response, Trump spokesperson Stephen Chung said in a statement Thursday night, it's time for Garland and President Biden to, quote, do the right thing and put the final stop to the political weaponization of our Justice Department, end quote. With less than 2 weeks until a ban on the social media app TikTok is slated to take effect, today the U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments against the legislation. TikTok will look to show the justices that despite claims from the U.S. federal government, it is not a national security threat. It is unclear when the court will deliver its ruling. TikTok is facing a ban in the United States beginning on January 19th, affecting roughly 115 million monthly users, unless its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, sells the platform as required by the law signed by President Biden last year, or the U.S. Supreme Court rules in favor of TikTok's position that the law is unconstitutional. Supporters of the ban believe the app allows China to access vast amounts of data from Americans and possibly influence public opinion in the United States. President-elect Trump says he opposes the ban and has met with the TikTok CEO in recent weeks. Business news now. On Thursday, Macy's confirmed it will be shutting down 66 stores. The department store chain saying the move is part of its, quote, bold new chapter strategy announced in February of last year that will see the closure of approximately 150 underperforming stores over a 3-year period. That equates to about 1/3 of its locations. Tony Spring, the retailer's chairman and CEO, said in a statement that while closing any store is never easy, this will allow the company to focus its resources and prioritize investments in its other locations. Macy's tells Axios that clearance sales will begin this month and run for up to 12 weeks. Finally, this morning, Thursday was a national day of mourning as former President Jimmy Carter was honored during a state funeral in Washington, D.C., where all 5 surviving presidents were in attendance at the National Cathedral. We leave you today with words of remembrance from his longtime friend, President Joe Biden, and his family, his grandson, Jason.
Jimmy Carter's friendship taught me, and through his life taught me, the strength of character is more than title or the power we hold. It's the strength to understand that everyone should be treated with dignity, respect, that everyone, and I mean everyone, deserves an even shot. Not a guarantee, but just a shot. You know, we have an obligation to give hate no safe harbor and to stand up to what my dad used to say is the greatest sin of all, the abuse of power. That's not about being perfect, because none of us are perfect. We're all fallible, but it's about asking ourselves, are we striving to do things, the right things? What values? What are the values that animate our spirit? Do we operate from fear or hope, ego or generosity? Do we show grace? Do we keep the faith when it's most tested? For keeping the faith with the best of humankind and the best of America is a story, in my view, from my perspective, Jimmy Carter's life.
They were small town people who never forgot who they were and where they were from, no matter what happened in their lives. But I recognize that we are not here because he was just a regular guy. As you've heard from the other speakers, his political life and his presidency for me was not just ahead of its time, it was prophetic. He had the courage and strength to stick to his principles even when they were politically unpopular.
Following a private funeral in his hometown of Plains, Georgia, Jimmy Carter was laid to rest next to his wife of 77 years, Rosalind. Some really nice tributes to Jimmy Carter over the past 2 weeks, and now he's resting in peace. Those are your unbiased updates for this Friday. We'll see you back here on Monday. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great weekend.